prepare, what would you buy now? Let's say we go back in time and you have 6 months or 3 months, or pick a time, a couple of months that you know exactly. You just traveled back in time with what you know now and what you saw in Lebanon. What would be the steps that you take? Name 5 steps that you would take in order to make your situation right now better.
Okay, I don't want to get. I'll try to answer that question while still being conscious about decisions that are affected by emotions, because I could simply tell myself, oh, sell the 100 million liras when it was at 1800. Like, I would do that, but that's
You're
not a
allowed. So
realistic.
in this scenario, you
No,
exactly
I
know
mean,
what happens.
no, I'm going to take the harder way. I'm going to
Okay.
tell myself the things that I would actually do, because it's an easy game. Otherwise, I'll be like, oh, buy dollars, buy stocks in this company, buy stocks in that company. I mean, that's playing the game on cheat mode. No, I'll still go back in time without using cheat mode. Okay.
Okay.
um, so I would definitely convert like part of my money in dollars. Not, I mean, again, converting it all to dollars would have been cheat mode. So I would diversify early on. Um, I I would have learned to look at economic red flags. I was making use of the interest rates, but never questioned it. Like, I
Mhm.
always would tell my friends, oh, Lebanon has one of the highest interest rates in the world. And that's true. We got like upwards of 15% interest rate. That's like unspoken. That's gambling money in some countries.
Yeah.
Some people don't even work. They put $2 million in the bank and they live off interest rate, because $2 million would give you like $6,000, $7,000 a month of free money.
Yeah.
So I would have learned that that's not exactly a good thing. Um,
Would you buy some
it's
things
something
like
that I
to
did
prepare? Would you
to
buy
prepare.
food? Would you buy gold, silver, a house maybe, something like that? Would you move somewhere else in the country?
Um, so really, I mean, I would definitely have installed solar power, because this crisis is affecting electricity, affecting everything. So I would have invested in power earlier on, in solar power. Some people are doing that right now. I wouldn't say I still so I'm not with people hoarding things, because that creates a problem to other people. And I'm one of those people who believes that everyone should start with themselves. Like, but I did my fair share of hoarding. Like, I do buy things in bulk whenever I buy something. But like, I know my shampoo is gonna be like twice as much like next month. So if I can
Exactly.
buy two, if I can buy two, I would do that. But I wouldn't go buy 20 to then sell them. I mean, that's the difference between you doing the right thing for you and then you doing
Taking advantage of
something
the situation.
that harms others,
Right.
or making use of the situation. One thing I did early on is stock on my chronic medications, because
Mhm.
because early on they started only giving you like one pack. You cannot buy 2 packs of one medicine. So I saw that there might be total shortage in that. So I started going to different pharmacies, and I got one, then stocked for like a year in advance. Um, because medication is the only thing that I actually like stock over my need, like for at least a year. I'm not trading it,
Of
but
course.
so when I buy food, I calculate probably for 1 week or 2 weeks. I'm not worried about 1 month from now. But with medication, it's
Mhm.
risky. Like you want to make sure that you
You
have
can't
that.
take the chance of not having it, right?
Exactly. Um, I would have started documenting things earlier on, to create more engaging content, more like content with more contrast. Um, so I would have done that. Um, I would have definitely not. So what I did with my savings is that the bank gave me the option to convert them to imaginary dollars for for the official rate, which is the best rate, which is 1,500. But it would have been imaginary dollars that I cannot use, and they have to be legally locked in a saving account for 2 years.
Mm.
And again, like going back, it's really hard to know or to take the right decision. I did choose to turn them all to imaginary dollars because I thought, hey, imaginary dollars are better than imaginary liras.
Right.
So like, you know what? Okay, those $100,000 are either going to give me, let's say, $10,000 that I can use guaranteed, or can give me $70,000 potentially. To me, it was a gamble, right? So it's a gamble that we do today, every day. Like if I have money in the banks, they would only give it to me at 3,900, and I need to know, like, is it worth the 3,900 right now, or am I willing to take the risk? So to me, I was willing to lose $10,000 for the potential of eventually having 70,
Getting back
because I was
70, yeah.
what?
Getting back 70. It's your
Exactly.
dollars,
So
but
it was like
they
you
gave you
buying
two
a
bad
lottery ticket.
options, right?
It was you buying a lottery ticket because, and you want to measure your risks. Because I'm not risking 55,000 to get 60,000, right? So I
Mhm.
wouldn't have done that. But sometimes you're thinking like, okay, can I risk $100 for the
Mhm.
potential of getting $1,000? Most of the time, that's a good deal, especially if you don't really need your $100. Um, yeah.
Quite interesting. So, let's say, are foreign investors or speculators or outside people coming into Lebanon to take advantage or help people in any way, or are they coming in to buy up real estate, or selling food items, or are they coming in trying to help the people? Do you see any international movements of people?
Not
And
really. The
mhm.
only the only international influx of value is coming from two places. First, it's from the Lebanese expats. So Lebanon is one of the few countries in the world where we have way more active actual Lebanese citizens who live outside Lebanon than in Lebanon. I'm not talking about like people whose parents are Lebanese or first generation Americans. No, I'm talking about actual Lebanese with an active Lebanese citizenship. So there's at least like 2.5 times Lebanese outside Lebanon than in Lebanon. And throughout the past decades, that was actually one of the biggest incomes for Lebanon as a country. A big part of our GDP is that, and that's part of the problem. A big part of our GDP is not really P at all. There's no product being made. A big part of our GDP is our families sending us money. And the GDP you see is really fake, because when you see like how
Indeed.
much we're
Yep.
actually producing, it's barely anything.
Mhm.
Um, so we still get most of the dollars coming into Lebanon are still people sending money. Some people now, you always want to compromise. So some people now would rather leave their job and literally like they would rather humiliate themselves and ask their neighbors or relatives who lives somewhere else. Like I'd rather do that than work for a whole month. Not me, but some people, to some
Mhm.
people, you know, who would have never asked for money would do it now, because it's either you ask for $100 from a friend, or work 9 hours a day for a whole month. So some people start asking from their families abroad. So, and the second place that gets us most of the influx of dollars is international aid, NGOs. But those really do not, aid does not impact economy. It just stops
Yes.
people dying.
Yeah, it's the bottom of the barrel at that point.
Exactly.
So
So,
thank you very
uh,
much for all this information. This has been truly, mind-boggling and mind-opening. Um, is there a way that, for instance, for international people to help Lebanese, can they send dollars or cryptocurrency or any way that, people could help the people of Lebanon, or maybe even you? Do you have any way of, receiving international funds from outside?
so if people want to support Lebanon, um, I have a few tips. First, if you know Lebanese people you trust, and that's the easiest way to put your money towards something that would have instant impact. If you have a Lebanese friend, or somehow you can reach the Lebanese people, you can send them money through Western Union or any other financial service, and you know that this person, the next morning is going to go uh, buy food and give it to like a poor family in the neighborhood. That's one way that you can support on a small level. There is a link that has a lot of links within it for different organizations, because some people like to support for specific causes. So I'll try to find that link and send it to you so you can put it in the description. You can go directly support the Red Cross, or even support, the animal welfare are getting a big hit because they can't feed animals. To some people, that's something that we don't think about. But
Yeah.
one day I was literally thinking, how are the animals in the zoos getting their food? Because it's so expensive. And it was actually an issue. A couple of zoos got closing down and they sent the animals outside Lebanon. So those are things, like layers, that we do not tend to think of off the bat. A lot of people are throwing away their pets because they can no longer afford feeding them. So the reason we got here, because, so it's talking about NGOs. So you can donate to specific sectors that make sense to you. And this way, that an actual NGO is getting this money. If someone wants me to be that sort of mediator, I'd be more than happy to. So they can contact me. I do have a Patreon page, but I don't really push it a lot because I think there are other people who are more deserving of for help. But I'm more than happy to help anyone. You will need to be putting your trust in me, but it's going to be the same thing wherever you put your money. At least you can ask in what way. For example, I like making children happy. One thing that makes me really sad these days, children who can no longer buy ice cream because it's so expensive. Imagine this child, he doesn't understand hyperinflation. The only thing he sees is that his parents are no longer getting him chocolates and ice cream. And because what used to cost 1,000 is for 15,000, 20,000. So that's, children is something that I usually like to support on a first-hand basis. I see kids of janitors or poor families around, and I try to make them happy, and they really appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally understand. And that was our perception back in Romania, that we thought this was life and we didn't quite understand it, why, what was happening. It's horrible for them. So, thank you for doing that. And if there are
Yeah.
any NGOs or, organizations that you trust then I will put a link to your YouTube channel. Make sure you put it in the about section, or how people can contact you, or certain NGOs or causes that they can help. And
Definitely.
I would like to thank you very, very much for coming on to Star Path Academy. Um, if you would like to come on some more, then I will be always
You
open to
already
that.
realize I like to
So
talk a lot, so I'm ready
I
whenever.
think we need to talk this through, because a lot of people need to grab those intricate details of many important things that
There are
in
many
order to put the
aspects.
page together. Yeah.
So, I mean, there are many aspects that could be covered. Like, I still consider what we discussed today, like literally the top tip of the iceberg. You know, things like animals, like pets, we don't think about those. Car accidents increase. Why? Because people no longer change their car tires. We have more deaths from car accidents because of the economic crisis. The government does not have money to fix the roads, and then people are no longer changing their brakes and their car tires. And suddenly we're seeing an influx, and not everyone is smart enough to connect the dots. People start going more to the doctors. We have the cases of food poisoning have skyrocketed. Skin conditions, because girls are buying very cheap makeup. A lot of things that once you dig into the effects of the hyperinflation, things that you would never thought are related, you start seeing the way this affects details in your life.
Yeah, it brings chills to wow, to hear this again, because that was very I mean, that's totally familiar with me. Just how things break down. Things break down because of
Exactly.
small things that you
Everything
took for
starts breaking
granted
down
once.
around you. And
Yeah.
not everyone has this third person view. I mean, I find myself gratefully gifted that I'm able to look at things from a very objective eye and connect the dots. And once you can do that, I think it's easier for you to understand how to solve problems. A lot of people still, with everything happening, they're not looking at things objectively. A lot of people still love their leaders who got us here because they've been brainwashed. A lot of people do not see the very obvious relationship between certain things, and they always make excuses. And as long as you have that type of mentality, it's really hard to make a change. As long as everyone thinks that they're doing right and the others are doing wrong, like it's a funny thing. Like in Lebanon, everyone like you see people complaining on Facebook, why is everyone in their home? Everyone should go and protest. And everyone is saying that, right?
Right, from their home.
No one starts.
Right. Well, I'm very sorry to hear what's happening to your country, and I really hope
We just need to
things will turn
create more
around.
awareness. I thank you for doing that, and I'm trying to do that
Well, please
locally
do,
too.
and share the content on Patreon. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in Western Europe and in America, or all around the world, would be interested in those snippets, because just seeing those lines of cars, um, it
Gives you
reminds you how
flashbacks.
really things are when things are breaking down, and
And
hopefully that's a good enough
Lebanon,
wake-up
as
call for
you
them.
said in the beginning, Lebanon is not like a marginalized country.
Absolutely, yeah.
Lebanon had, I mean, at one point, Lebanon was one of the most vibrant countries in Lebanon in the Middle East. Lebanon is a very globalized country. We have if, despite being small, but we have a globalized economy. We work with companies around the world, and that's with the help of the big expat population that we have. Many Lebanese people work. I mean, I work with a Canadian company remotely. So people who are thinking that, oh, this is that poor country somewhere, not really.
Very important point.
There's
Very important point.
Lamborghinis in
Yes.
Lebanon more than there is Toyotas, literally. Like I have people who come in like well, not literally, but, but the value of Lamborghinis probably on the streets is higher than Lamborghinis. People coming in when they visit, I used to host Airbnbs and couch surfing, and they tell me, Ali, everything looks like, oh my God, there's more Lamborghinis and Porsches than I ever seen in my life. And that is very true. The Lebanese people, you live a lavish lifestyle, and you can only imagine the clash this has created when right now they cannot live that lavish lifestyle unless they were on the lucky side of the equation. So if it happened to Lebanon, it could literally happen anywhere. We were being told one day before the collapse by the governor of the bank that, and it's on record, that everything is okay. That's one thing you guys need not to, don't trust your government. Do your own analysis. We were being told, we had electoral campaigns that literally say the lira is safe. Only 2 years before the collapse, we have electoral campaigns based on the idea that our lira is safe, and like literally it said, the Lebanese lira is safe and everyone else around us is collapsing. That was a slogan of an electoral campaign 2 years before the collapse. 1 week before the collapse, the governor, I'm not talking about a tiny analyst, the government of the central bank was literally telling people, don't worry, your money is all good, the economy is better than ever, keep investing in Lebanon. It's on record. Like, are you gonna tell me the governor didn't know? Hell no. Are you gonna tell me that the prime ministers didn't know? Hell no. Everyone knew what's going on. They were blatantly lying.
Very,
And
very
a lot of
important
people,
point. Yeah.
including myself, bought that because people enjoy good news. People want to hear good news, right?
Very important point that you touched
Don't
upon
trust
that.
your
And
government.
that's why I tried to make an introduction of Lebanon, where it is, how big it is, and how, you know, beautiful a country is, and with the skyscrapers and the wealth that was there. It's
A
not, you
very,
know,
very
some
educated
off country somewhere
society.
that it just always was like that. So this can happen to anyone at any time.
Literally anyone. Really,
Yeah.
don't take anything you see for you read for granted. Make your own decisions.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to say to the viewers before we close the interview?
Um, I'll say that it's passing through something like this is hard. If anyone listening is passing through such cases, it's really hard, especially if you have family, if you have people that rely on you, if you have children that you can no longer send to school. I think the biggest advice is to learn how to adapt and to accept that this is a crisis and that normal life cannot exist anymore. A lot of people keep fighting to live the normal life. No, just understand that things are going bad and deal accordingly. Stop buying unnecessary things. Be very careful where you spend your money, even if you have that money, because you never know if things are going to get better or worse. When it's a crisis, you need to live like you're in a crisis, disregarding how safe you think you are.
Well, thank you very much for that. And thank you very much for the interview. Everyone, please like the video, share the video with friends and family. I think this is a very important message that he shared with us. And also be sure to check out his channel, his Patreon, and get some more content there as well. Ali, thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to
Thank you.
having you on some more. You are amazing. Thank you very much.
I'd love
You're
to.
amazing for sharing all of this.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.